It's episode 8 of VXI Conversations. I'm your host, Jamie Fournier. Let's get down to business, shall we? In our previous episode, training manager Enzo Salazar shared with us generous tips on how to develop good customer service skills. In the BPO industry, these skills are the bread and butter of all successful call center agents, and you too can easily develop yours and find your own success in the industry. For today, we will try to equip you as you tread the waters of career transitions. How exactly can you work through the changes, and what are the important things for you to remember and live by? Well, we sure got lucky because today we have our manager for leadership and organizational effectiveness to guide us through yet another important topic. With that said, please help me give her a warm welcome. Hi, Miss Jessa Jumao-as.
Hello, Jamie. It's so good to be here.
It's so good to have you here. I love the smile. I love the energy. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'd like to think I'm great.
Well, so many people out there have been waiting for this, and I know that they're excited to learn from you. But before we ask you the meat of the questions for today, can you please introduce yourself to everybody listening out there? Tell us about your experience in the BPO industry, especially in VXI.
All right. Hello to all the listeners. So yes, my name is Jessa. It's actually Jessa Lorraine Humawas. I like to always include Lorraine. I think it's cute. And I am the HR manager for the PH Leadership Development. But I am a proud team member or a part of a lean team that takes care of the organization's core leadership and career experiences globally. So
Mm.
part of our team were actually team members from Guatemala and Jamaica and even the US. And we're very excited because they're a very young team. I've been with VXI for more than 3 years now, but I'd like to consider myself very young in the industry because this is my first BPO. And that's why it's actually interesting for me that I was invited to talk about the topic for today, Jane.
I think, Jess, you're the perfect person to talk about when it comes to career transitions. You mentioned it yourself. You came from a different industry. This is your first time in BXI and in this industry. So let's talk about this situation of yours that you had to deal with career transitioning to the BPO industry. Can you tell us about this experience and what you had to go through?
All right. Yeah, VXI is my first BPO. With that, it goes without saying that I joined the BPO industry with zero knowledge of what the industry is all about. I didn't have the agent perspective, maybe moving up from there into the HR role and all that. Very different from the experiences of the other speakers were invited to speak with you, join you, Jamie. But I'd like to think that I am a good representative of the population too. Again, this is my first
Mhm.
BPO, and when I transitioned into the BPO, it was it was a difficult transition actually. I had been with
Mhm.
an automotive industry for more than 5 years. I was
Mhm.
considered the expert there. I was already moving up. My bosses were actually offering me to be part of the second generation of the executive level. And I don't know, I was moving up
Mhm.
with the previous organization I was with. It was just that I was looking for something more. I was looking for more challenge. And um, I don't know, I looked at the market, the opportunities available. I found VXI. I actually found VXI along with another center here in Davao. And I don't know, for
Mhm.
some reasons, I I remember during one of the interview, I was interviewed several times, actually, I think 5 times. During the second
Mhm.
interview, I told the person who interviewed me if I can ask questions because I
Mhm.
remember saying this is a two-way conversation. It's not. yes, you are deciding whether you want me in your organization or not, but I am also deciding whether I want to work with you or not. And it was a very important decision to make because, as I've mentioned, I've been with an organization where I was already considered an expert. And if I am
Mm,
to move out and jump out of that boat, then I have to be joining an organization way better than the previous one. Unless, right?
mhm.
Why would I
Yeah.
leave that and join another one? So I think that has been the greatest and most challenging transition as far as my career is concerned.
Amazing journey you've had, Jessa. What helped you power through this transition where in one industry you considered yourself already an expert, you were on the rise, and then now we know your reason for jumping into the BPO industry, which is to push yourself, to learn, to continuously learn. But what helped you get through that transition from being the expert to then finding yourself in a new territory?
Wow. Looking back, that was 3 years ago. And I think what helped me with the transition is really knowing that when I joined VXI, this is the boat I want to be. So still connected to the story about when I was being interviewed. I really want to make sure if the job that they do is really what I'm interested in, or are my
Mm,
skills what you need. Can I add value into the organization at the same time? Can I also hone my own skills and continuously improve? And another thing was, I remember asking Alex, it was Alex. I remember asking Alex, how long have you been with the company? What made you
mhm.
stay? How was it working for VXI and all of this stuff? And yeah, it's pretty much more of a commitment. So because I
Mm,
looked at working for a company more of a commitment, I have to make sure that I'm committing um, with the right organization. And I have been
mhm,
very proactive about my entire experience, entire career journey with VXI. My leaders would notice that when I have opportunities inside the organization, I take it to a point to go outside the organization, learn more about it so I can
mm,
improve the skills that I need and bring it with me. So I have the passion for learning, the
mhm.
passion for education in general, I think. And that actually helped me navigate the transitions I had from
Okay.
where I was before and with BPO now.
So I guess what really helped you through that process was knowing that it was the right decision to make for you and just committing to the process of learning what came with that decision. And speaking of making sure that it's the right decision for someone who's transitioning from one role to another or one place to the next, now, how should one identify which career path to take, Jessa? Did you have a definite career path? And what helped you the most in identifying which path to take?
That's a great question, actually. But going back to what I said earlier already, my career path has always been defined and guided by my love and passion for teaching and learning. So I am the eldest. I have six other younger siblings, and I always take pride in saying that I was their first teacher. I
Mm-hmm.
had to teach all of them or help them with their assignments before I can even take care of my own. And from there, I think I developed that passion. And
Mm-hmm.
so looking back after graduating with the degree that I have, I actually taught in one of the universities. So yeah, I was an instructor. It's college instructor. After that, I jumped into the organizational setup, but I was still a trainer there, and I found new avenue to still practice what I love.
Mm-hmm.
And I continuously do that in VXI right now. So to sum up my answer to the question, I think it's important to identify what you love doing, and from there, everything should follow. I've always known that this is where my gifts are, what my natural gift is, and I just followed there, and I've been doing it for the longest time. And I'd like to think that I've been fortunate to be able to translate my passion into a career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Kudos
so.
to you for being able to do that. And it, as you mentioned, it doesn't have to be limited to one industry, as you have showcased from one to the next. And now you're doing it in the BPO industry. You've made the right decision. You're on the right boat. You're happy here and helping so many out there as well. I echo what you said, Jessa. I truly believe that knowing what you love doing will help you determine what career path to take, because from there, everything else will fall into place. Now, to set someone up for success, though, to ensure that once they know what they want to do, it will be successful with the right steps. Let's help them. Let's dissect this and let's help them with this situation. How should one prepare for a career transition? You mentioned yourself, you were committed. You knew it was the right decision. You powered through. You were able to do this. You have been here for 3 years. But for those out there who don't know what to do and what steps to take, what advice would you give? How can they be successful in transitioning from one role to the next?
Well, first things first, it is important to identify your priorities. I'm saying that because for others, even when they know exactly what they're passionate about, they might not have or they might not be as fortunate as I am to do it. They might have other
Mm,
opportunities. They might be breadwinners. They might have other values or other things that they have to prioritize. Of course, depending on where you are right now, which phase you are right now in your life, you also have to consider all of those.
mm,
Aside from that, once you identify what you want to prioritize, you have to assess your current skills. Sometimes
mhm,
we want to shoot for the stars and maybe we want to be promoted. Maybe we want to aspire for bigger roles. But the question is, do we have the skills? Do we have the
mhm,
potential to be effective in the role? If we don't, then what are the skills? Are we willing to improve ourselves, continuously learn and work on the stuff that we have to work on so that we can move from point A, where we are right now, the current set of skills that we have, into moving to point B, the target competencies that we want. We should be able to move from point A to point B by continuously improving ourselves. Another thing could be really finding a good mentor. When I
mhm,
joined VXI, this is something I was very firm about when I talked to my associate director then. I said, in terms of my non-negotiables, I have two. First is really leadership. I want to have
mhm,
the right leader because when you have that right leader, the right mentor, it will have a lot of impact in your overall experience in whichever company you're in.
mhm,
And the second one, I think during that time, I said it was feedback. It is important that I'm given feedback because that's the only time I know if I'm doing something right, if I'm doing it wrong, then how should I improve on things. So that would actually lead to my third tip, maybe. So take charge of your own learning, seek for resources, and be open for feedback. Do not be afraid to make mistakes,
mhm,
and ask for help when needed. Be patient
mhm.
with yourself. That's something very important. Um, yeah.
Such important pragmatic tips, Jessa. Thank you for sharing them. I'm sure this set of tips will help individuals out there going through the same situation. Again, assess your skills, find a mentor. This is so important. You know, the right environment and the right support system will truly help you. And I love your last tip, which is really take charge of your own learning. So thank you so much for sharing that. I know that your role in VXI involves a lot of helping others out there who are transitioning from one role to another. So, is there a memorable story of a colleague whom you helped transition into a new career or role? And if so, what was the best lesson you've learned from that experience?
Aha. Um, I can't think of a specific person though, because again, it's part of my core role in the organization to really help people transition from a rank and file role into the leadership role. But I think that with all of them, something that's very common with the people, the leaders to be that I get to touch base with is the importance of resilience. So
Mm.
I think that resilience had been um, on the news because of the pandemic. But what
Yeah.
people don't realize, and this is something I also share with my participants during workshops, that resilience is something that we need day in and day out. We don't need as something as massive as a pandemic for us to need resilience because we need resilience all the time. So just
True.
to contextualize, Jamie, when I was starting with VXI, I remember running to the bathroom crying because of an Excel formula that I can't figure out an Excel
Mm.
formula. So, but during that time, it took a lot of resilience to bounce back from that feeling of not being the expert anymore. So
Mm.
that's another thing. When you move from one role to another, you have to be willing to be not the expert anymore. So if
Mm.
you're an agent or account associate, for example, you might be on the role for the longest time. You might be an expert already, a high performer, a high flyer. And now, when you aspire for a bigger role, you'll have to give that up. You'll have to be willing to be the idiot in the room. I remember Simon Sinek saying that. What that means is, as we start with new chapter, we'll have to start from the very beginning, and it's
Mm.
okay if you don't know everything. It's okay if you'll have to ask help from anyone around you. It's okay to ask questions and seek support when needed, because that actually helps us build resilience and the confidence and the boost that we need as we transition with our careers.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today, Jessa. For someone who has also gone through a big career transition and change in environment, I know that so many out there will take a look at your answers today and say, hey, I can do this. I can be that idiot in the room and become an expert again, continuously learn. And it takes resilience to be able to do that, not just as you mentioned during big changes, but every single day as well, because changes, little and big, they happen every single day. It's a constant in life. And let's face it, I'm sure a lot of us out there have been in a situation like Justice where she ran to the bathroom and cried over an Excel file. It may not be the exact same situation, but we may have felt a little unsure about ourselves. Change is always nerve wracking, whether it be for something personal or in your work life. But remember what Chasa has shared with us today: with the right mindset, updated set of skills, and just about the right amount of confidence, change suddenly becomes less scary. We hope that you enjoyed our discussion for today. Thank you again to Jessa for sitting down and navigating career transitions with us. Do you have anything else to share with our listeners and viewers out there, just as advice before we wrap up today's episode?
Maybe I wanna reiterate some things that I've mentioned earlier. So look for something that you're passionate about and
Mhm.
pursue your passion. And when changes happen, don't be afraid to be the idiot in the room.
I will remember that too, Jessa. Thank you again for being so inspiring and for sharing your story. Now, if through this podcast we've managed to encourage you to apply with us, all you have to do is find the right vacancy for you. We've mentioned it time and time again. There's so many career opportunities in VXI. Check out these opportunities on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok at VXI PH, and send your resume to careersph@vxi.com. Candidates with or without BPO experience are very much welcome to apply, provided they are a graduate of at least high school old curriculum, or senior high school with good English communication skills. That is it for episode 8 of VXI Conversations. Season 2 is coming to a close very soon, but before that, we still have a few more episodes left for us to enjoy and listen to together. Hope to catch you on the next one. This is Jamie, your host, saying goodbye. Take care and stay safe, everybody, till the next one. Bye, Jessa. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jamie. Thank you so much.